All right, thank you for joining today. Let's start with our upper body. So we're going to begin with a standing mobility exercise for our upper body. And it's just nice, easy swinging with the arms. Kind of casually swinging. You're trying to allow your arms to be free-flowing. All right, where they're just constantly moving, like a swing, like a pendulum. Now your hands are very, very relaxed. Wrists are relaxed, and it helps to alternate which arm comes up on top. And we want to switch. Which arm comes up and crisscrosses on top. And as you can tell, you get a little stretch as you swing your arms back, and then you stretch out your upper mid-back as you bring your arms forward. And it's just a great way to get the chest and the back going, and then of course your shoulders are getting some movement as well. And it prepares us for our one-arm swing. So to give you a little side view, just nice and easy, trying to get a real big circle with your arm. As big as you can get. Now you want to try to reach back behind you, then come up above you with your arm in front and to the side, and you're trying your best. Now sometimes people are going to have a smaller circle because of their range of motion. It's okay. Whatever you can do. I also know that sometimes it can be difficult to do this with a straight arm. If you bend your arm, you can still work on that range of motion, and you actually are able, if you have shoulder issues, sometimes you're able to get bigger range of motion when you bend your arm. Sometimes that extension of the arm can make some of these moves very difficult. Let's go to the other side. So it just depends. It depends on where you're at, what your shoulder issues are like. But now we're on the other side, and again, the same thing. As big as you can get. Real big circles. Trying to reach back and above the body. And this is where we get the biggest challenge to our mobility. This is when you start to reach back. This is probably the more challenging section of the move. And then trying to get up here is probably the next difficult, because it's easy to bring the arm in front and then hang down. From there, the challenge is reaching back and coming above. So it's a challenge, of course. And remember, you can bend your arm if you need to, and you just lead with your elbow. And so this is an alternative. Something you can do as well. Moving on. Have a seat. So that's a great way to loosen up the legs. I'm sorry, the legs. We're going to the legs next, but we're loosening up the shoulders and the upper body. Now, I always encourage taking off your shoes because we're going to get into the figure four and we get to massage our feet a little bit. So we're going to cross our legs. Now you have options. You can cross at the ankle, you can cross at the knee, or you can try to cross ankle over knee. Now sometimes it may be very difficult where you feel like you're pointing the knee up to the sky, and that's okay. If you're feeling the stretch on the leg that's bent and up, and you're feeling it in the hip, right here, my left leg is up, that means my left glute, my left hip is getting the mobility and the stretch. If you're feeling it there, you're good. And if you're pain-free, you're good. Now, you might feel pain from the stretch. And it's a different type of pain. Right? I'm talking about the pain that's going to lead to an injury, and we always have to differentiate between the two. So, and you know when something hurts, like painfully, like it's gonna tear something or potentially injure an area. So it's very obvious, and you'll know right away. But when you feel stiff, and then you're here and you're holding it, and you feel it in that spot that I was describing, the glutes and hips, you're right there. You're right there. You're feeling it in the correct area. But if you feel pain somewhere else, then you probably don't want to do this exercise. Or at least maybe lower your leg and bring the angle of that front supported leg, that leg that's underneath you, maybe move it a little down. Because you can see how I slid my foot down, and now the height of my ankle has gone down. So I can actually increase the range of motion from the down leg. As I bring my foot in, it kind of picks up the ankle a little. And then you can see when I slide out, it kind of lowers it. So that's another way to kind of give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, now that we're done with that, the hip and the glutes, let's play with our foot a little bit. And you're just manipulating your foot. You're just kind of moving things around, the toes. I really like doing this because we are always constricting our feet. Always. When we put on our shoes, they're constricted. Socks are somewhat constricted. You have a little more freedom and movement with socks, but even to an extent, there is some constriction around the toes. But not like the shoe. The shoe, you are very limited. You have a shell around your foot, and it can make it hard on your feet. It can tighten them up and stiffen them up and make their range of motion limited. So what we do is we try to create that range of motion and movement and just move it and tweak it in a way that feels good, but that doesn't cause pain, right? And now you can dig into the arch with your thumb a little bit. Or maybe you're doing knuckles and you can kind of close a finger, make a little mini fist, and you do your middle finger knuckle, and you can kind of dig in there. It just depends, because it does require a little bit of hand strength to manipulate your foot and to give it a little bit of a massage in the arch. And then, of course, I like squeezing my heel. Just squeezing it, pinching it from the sides, just trying to squeeze it with my hand as if I was holding on to some type of, therapeutic medicine ball in my hand, and I'm working on squeezing, right? And that's the kind of motion that you're doing against the heel with your hands and fingers. And again, just getting that blood flow, that range of motion, that manipulation to the feet. And you'll notice, once you put your foot down, which we're going to do, compare it to your other foot. You might feel some kind of tingling, some type of activation happening in that foot, and it's totally normal, and it's a good thing. It means that your foot has gotten some blood flow, some circulation. You have opened it up and expanded it, and it's a lot more relaxed. And that's what you're feeling. So those little tingling sensations that you feel in the bottom of the foot after massaging it, that's a good thing. It's a good after effect. Now, other leg. Starting with the figure four. My right leg is up, trying to stretch out the right hip, the right glute. And remember the foot. You can play with that bottom leg, the foot, sliding out, sliding in, and it can play with the height of the leg that's up and bent. Because you can see right now, I'm at maximum height. If I were to slide that foot out now, I'm down maybe, a couple inches, 2, 3. But it might make this stretch a little bit more manageable. Now make sure your posture is somewhat tall and straight. And if you need a little extra, I always need extra. And the extra for me is getting my elbow in there, my forearm, and then pressing in. Now this is kind of an advanced move where if you have the ability and the range of motion to apply that kind of pressure down, go for it. But again, be mindful. Don't force it. Don't force the stretch. Do what you can. And then once you feel like you've really worked on that hip and you feel like it's pretty loose, then start to move on to the foot. And you start with the toes. Try to get separation. If you have socks on, try to create some space between your toes. Even with the socks on, you just try to manipulate them and spread them out. Open up the toes a little. Pull on them maybe a little bit. Just move them around. Get some movement in there. Manipulate them, twist them, turn them around. You'd be surprised how much movement you can get in your foot. And of course, getting the arch, or using your thumb, or whatever you can. to kind of play with the arch and dig in there. And just keep messing with it, just keep manipulating the foot, squeezing the heel. Don't forget about the heel. All right, continuing to squeeze that heel. Manipulate that foot, squeeze, move, and relax it. And now that foot is tingling and getting all that blood flow and circulation, the release. So it's a good thing. Hamstrings. Start with one leg straight, other leg bent. If you can, two hands. But before we slide down, remember your posture. Do a little side view. All right, good posture. Shoulders up and back and a little down, right? Maintain that good posture and bend forward from the waist. Nice and easy. Two hands, sliding down. One leg is straight, the other leg is bent and supportive. Try not to round your spine. Do the best you can to keep somewhat of a neutral back. Straight spine, neutral spine. Don't round. I don't even want to show you the rounding position because I don't want you to do it. But do your best to kind of keep those shoulders back. Don't shrug. Maintain good posture. And you should feel your hamstrings. Other side. So one leg is straight. Again, good posture. Tall to get started. Shoulders are down. Two hands sliding down the shin and nice and easy. Bend forward from the waist. Easy, easy. Take your time. And very, very carefully come out of that. And let's work on our mid-body, lower lumbar. And again, as we work on our spine, our back, low back, start slow, be mindful, and never force the stretch. We're going to do rotation. So facing forward, straight ahead. We're just going to turn to one side, rotate, twist. Try not to lean, because you can notice my posture is still tall, and I'm not leaning to my left. I'm just twisting. Think about looking behind you, or your blind spot, right? Looking behind you on that blind spot, like when you drive, looking over that left shoulder. And then we do the same thing, twisting and turning to the right. Right? Looking over the right shoulder. And you can see how I'm using my body to help me turn and twist. I have my hand on one leg, my other hand wrapped around the chair, or holding onto the chair at the arm bar. Let's twist to the other side again. And I'm just using my arms as leverage to help me turn and twist. And we never force it, right? You do what you can. You stop when your body tells you to stop twisting. And that's how you know your range of motion, right? You know how far you can twist. Your body will stop you naturally. And that's where you kind of want to hover around, is where your body will stop you naturally. And then from there, you try to go a little bit more. Just a little extra twist, a little extra rotation. And we never try to force it, especially with our spine. Other side, because the spine is so delicate, right? It's very sensitive. There's a lot of skepticism behind doing certain stretches for your back. Other side, last one. My thought process is if it doesn't cause you pain or discomfort in any kind of way, then the stretch is okay for your body. Now, there are some stretches that are not okay for your body. Which ones they are is depending on what your body tells you. So it's very important to listen to your body and listen to what it says about certain stretches. But everyone's different. All right, spinal stretches. So these stretches can be challenging, but it's great for your core. I really like these because you get stretch with core strength. Posture's real tall. Sit as tall as you can. I like to have my feet wide, toes out a little, and then we're just going to drop. One side comes down, strong through your core. Flex the stomach and use your core to help you come up and get nice and tall again. And then you go to your other side. So we stretch. We try to drop one hand down and bring the other hand up. Little shoulder lateral flexion, right? Shoulder mobility a little. And a little flat lateral flexion as we go down to one side. The lateral flexion is right here as we come down to one side and we come back up. That's the flexion there, the movement there. And you're trying to use your core, your obliques. Your obliques are the side ab muscles, your side core muscles, also known as your love handles. All right, but the love handles it's an area, right? It's not the muscle. The muscle is the obliques, internal, external obliques. We have two different oblique muscle groups there, but they're very close to each other. And we're working those. And you get a little bit of your your lower back, your erector spinae, the back muscles. So you feel that stretch through your lower back as well as you go to one side. And the goal is just working on that core and stretching. One more time, last one to each side. Get a good stretch, strong core to get nice and tall. One more time, a good stretch, nice and easy, get nice and tall. And let's move on. Shoulders. So one arm right out front of you. I'm going to start with my left. Left arm straight out. Bring it over to the right side and now hook it with your right arm and just bring it in and hold it there. And I like to hook it right at the elbow because it helps to keep the arm straight. And if you can keep the arm straight, it'll help you stretch that deltoid and it'll help you open up your back a little bit. It'll bring the scapula over and widen your back. And it exposes that scapula. It opens that scapula up and you get a big opening through your back. The more you bring that arm in towards you, the more you can kind of feel that back stretch, as well as a little bit of a deltoid stretch. And now we go to the other arm. So right arm straight out in front. Bring it over to the left side and hook your arm with that left arm. The left arm is holding and keeping it in place. And the right arm is just relaxed, off to the side, hanging out. Not doing much. Just relaxing. Posture is real tall. Core is engaged, somewhat, just to keep your tall posture. And you get that good stretch through the deltoid and your back. Remember, if you pull on that arm a little bit extra, you get that little more opening in the scapula, the back. And then from there, nice and easy, let's transition. Left arm out in front. Touch your left shoulder with your left hand, your fingertips. And then you try to bring that elbow up to the sky. Here you have options. You either push from below, trying to get that elbow up. If this is easy, then we start to bring that arm behind your head. And you're pulling from above and a little bit behind your head, right at that elbow. So you're either pushing from below, trying to get that elbow vertical, or you're pulling from up above and you're trying to get your arm not only vertical, but a little bit behind the head, behind the skull. And then you feel your tricep, the back of your arm, and you get a little release through your shoulder and a little bit in your deltoid, your teres major, and your lats, your big back muscle, the lats right here. They come around the ribs. Other side. Right hand up, palm facing the sky. Touch your right shoulder. Try to get that elbow up, vertical. If that is easy, then we pull from above and we try to bring that arm behind. Now you're not trying to bring it, all the way behind your head, just enough to feel a stretch in the back of that upper arm and to get a little bit of a stretch in your armpit and lats. Shoulder, really, not armpit, but the shoulder complex and the latissimus dorsi, the lat area. And relax. Head. Let's stretch out the neck. Relax the shoulders. Really, just sit as tall as you can. Relax the arms in your lap. Tilt the head to one side. And you're just thinking about your ear going to one shoulder, but your shoulders are down. Relax. Let the shoulders go and just drop them down. Move them away from the ears. And then you're just thinking about the ear going towards one shoulder. That's it. Just nice and easy. Taking your time. Easy, easy. And I'm kind of holding it for about 10 seconds, and then I'm shifting. It's also another kind of delicate spot of the spine, the neck. So very similar to the back stretches that we were doing, you want to be mindful of your neck. And don't force it. And go to the other side. And you maybe hold it 5-10 seconds, and then go to the other side. It is kind of awkward to hold for a very long time, like 20-30 seconds. Honestly, it's really what's up to you. I kind of like just holding it for 5-10 seconds, give or take, and then going to the other side and doing it maybe 2 or 3 times. And then I like to finish with my chin coming down towards your clavicle, or for me, the zipper, chin down, coming in towards the chest. But you're sitting tall, sit real tall, shoulders are back and down. And then try to bring that chin in towards the chest, towards your sternum, towards the clavicle. If you want extra, you can put light pressure on the back of your head. All right, let's finish with our calves. So we're going to stand up. Now, I really like stretching out the calves. The calves, excuse me, the calves will help the feet, relaxing the feet, stretching the feet. So I have one leg forward, one leg back. Hands are on my chair or something stable. You could even do a wall. Imagine there's a wall in front of me. You could even have your hands against the wall and you're pushing against that wall, trying to help drive that back heel to the floor. Feet are pointing straight ahead. Pretty long stance. Now remember your width. You want to have a little width to your stance as well as length, because you want to be balanced. Right? If your stance is narrow, one foot in front of the other, you're going to be really top heavy and unstable. So think about your core, good posture. Use that chair to help you drive that heel down and hold it. Just hold that heel down. Keep leaning forward into the chair or your sturdy object or wall. And bring that heel down. And now switch. Other side. Make sure your feet are pointing straight ahead. Length and width to your stance. And you do what you can, never forcing the stretch. So the longer your length, the greater your length of your stance, the more stretch you're going to get for your calf. So if you need to shorten up your stance because it's just too intense, or maybe you can't get your heel down, then you shorten it up and you bring that back foot forward. And you just shorten it up. But you still maintain the width to your stance, always. So it totally depends on you and your flexibility, your range of motion, but we never force it. You do what you can. And let's just finish with a little bounce. Just a little bounce. One leg. Just a little bounce. Just to kind of get your day going with some bounce. Posture's tall. Core's engaged. Balance on one foot. You pick which foot, which leg. Now, the standing leg. A little bend on the knee, for sure. Bend that knee just a little. And of course, we always think about the posture, your core, holding that position, doing what you can, using a chair or not. Up to you. You can use one hand, two hands, no hands. It's your call. You can even use a stick. Maybe you want to use your walking stick because you want some support, but you want it to be challenging. And that could be kind of intermediate. You're not quite ready to go two hands, but you feel pretty solid with just one hand, but it's easy because it's stable. So the next progression would be something unstable to hold on to. So you can, this is a foam roller, but you can think of a cane or a walking stick, and you see how it can move, but it still provides balance and some support. So that could be a little intermediate type of progression. Other side. And so you have so many options, so many ways to work on your balance, to challenge your balance, to make it work for you. But always, number one rule, core and posture. Always. Number one priority. From there, a little bend in the knee. Right? And always keep that posture, that core, strong and supportive, supporting your balance because we need that core for our balance. Another added tip would be something to stare at, a focal point, something that you can concentrate on and just not break your eye contact with it. And you're just staring at it, working on your balance, a little bend in the knee, strong through the core, good posture, and you're there. And we are done. Great job. Thanks for joining me today. We are all done. Until next time, guys, take care.